Hello and welcome. My name is Adam Holm. As you can probably see, I'm recording from quite homely surroundings due to the lockdown. Today I will be talking to Andria Zafirakou, the London-based teacher who in 2018 was awarded the World's Best Teacher Prize. I'll be asking Andria why children need to be taught arts and textiles as part of their teaching. And joining us now from London is none other than Andria Zafirakou.
That's my pleasure. Lovely to meet you.
I should say, for those who are not familiar with you, that you teach art and textiles at Alberton Community School in Brent, which is on the outskirts of London.
Actually, it's considered a central part of London, so not in the city, but we call it Inner London.
Inner London. Okay, I got the geography wrong. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I will let you off.
But this one I didn't get wrong, because you are the best teacher in the world in 2018. What an amazing achievement. You won the Global Teacher Prize.
Yeah, it's a dream, I think. Still pinching myself to accept that has been part of my journey and that's happened to me. But yeah, it's just been an extraordinary moment in our lives.
Yeah, and you've been on quite a ride ever since. I understand that you have founded a charity called Artists in Residence. Now, before we get into the core of things, just a few words about Artists in Residence.
Absolutely. So with this incredible award, I got $1 million, which is given to me over 10 years. I wanted it to do something special. And one of the things which I found inspired me, and I note that it inspires my students, is when the young people have an opportunity to work with projects with artists. So what Artists in Residence does, it brings artists into schools to work with young people in schools, especially in schools in deprived areas. And they collaborate on bespoke projects. They design a project together. It's a very unique model, and that's bespoke for every school. So every school will come up with their own project. And what we do, we match make. So we identify what the school needs are, we identify what the artists can offer, and then we match make them and we support them to provide an incredible artistic experience.
Is that a national project, or is it just in that part of London where you work?
Well, at the moment, we're national. We're national. So last year we managed to work with other schools. For us, it's always, we've got a huge waiting list. Many schools want to participate and they're desperate for what we can offer. Our problem is just getting the money to support and get new and pay the artists. Because for us, what's important is that we employ the artists. It's not just a come and help and create, because we want the students to know that being an artist, being a creative has got some merit and is very important. You can earn a career from this. Mm-hmm. And so it's making sure that we have these values too, and we support our artistic community by finding opportunities for them to work in the educational world.
Speaking of the educational world and some of your thoughts on this, I understand you are about to publish a book entitled Those Who Can Teach, and it's not out yet. It's due to be published in mid-April, but you have a proof copy which you may be able to show us.
Can I? I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay. This is my book, everyone. This is my first book. You know, sometimes when we say, what have you done in lockdown? I'll say, thank God for lockdown, because it managed to just get me off planes in the UK, in my house, and just to focus on reflecting on this incredible journey. But what's really special about this book is it's not very much about me. It's more about the people who educated me, and that's my students. So there's stories of the students who really had that huge impact. The student who could not afford to eat and yet came into school. The student who was undergoing some really scary domestic violence issues at home. The student who found a voice through the arts. The students who, so it's very much about the classroom of a teacher. In there are the most beautiful, the most challenging, the most important memories that any teacher can have, but they're very unique and special to me.
Andrea, tell us a bit, this is sort of the common question for this talk. Why should the arts be an essential element in the teaching of students? Because I'm sure a lot of politicians, for instance, would argue, look, students need to learn how to read and write. They need to learn history, geography, and a few other subjects, but not arts and textiles. It's sort of luxurious in a sense. So why should it be essential?
It's the first language of communication. Sometimes it's the only language of communication. It's about building the person. Arts, all of the arts, is an opportunity for our young people to find what is good about themselves and what they appreciate. It's unique. It's about their identity. It's about exploring who they are. You can't really make a mistake. It's about growth. It's about the journey that you're on. And it's an opportunity for them to really be just as good as anyone else in that environment. And for many of our young people who struggle, who have confidence in communication, who have issues, for example, maybe they have special educational needs, the arts break those barriers. They really give those students the opportunity to shine, to thrive. And that's exactly why it's not about keeping them in the curriculums. It's about making sure that the curriculum surrounds the arts, that everything is about the arts within every school system.
Do you find a lot of support for that idea?
Yes, I do. In many countries around the world. And the thing which is really unique, Adam, is when you have that MP or that politician that says, my art, I loved art, but I never chose it because my parents said this, or, music is the thing that saves me, or music is the thing that got through me. And I also experienced the opposite. I experienced how you have the MPs and the ministers who just never were good at it, or I was never good at drawing. You're like, I'm so sorry that you had a poor experience at school. And so I know this sounds crass, but I think it's a difference between those who had a really, really great experience. They will back me 100% of the way. Those who do not or had not are not that keen. It's really, unfortunately, it's about personal experience. But what I do know is that evidence from schools, evidence from head teachers say that without the arts, engagement is lower in school. The arts reach out to the students who do not engage in school for whatever reason, and they're the subjects that hold things together, and that keeps me sane. That keeps me fulfilled, because then I believe that there is a point, there is a reason for this. And sometimes I look at my students and I see the struggles they have. They're great at art. They enjoy it. This is their subject. They've got that natural talent, and you're like, this is the missing jigsaw that you need to have in your life. And you see their struggle of choosing whether or not to take it on further as a career, or to choose it for A-levels, GCSEs, the next stage. And you see the pressures which they have from maybe their parents saying, no, it's not going to be a good, there's no income, there's no jobs, what are you going to do from having art? And, that happened to me, actually. My parents, what jobs can it, and I noticed that struggle which they have. And I also see, unfortunately, that the climate we have today and what's happened in terms of the galleries closing, musicians not being able to put on concerts, they've not been able to see how successful you can be and how happy you can be, unfortunately, because of the pandemic. But what I've also noticed is that the students, the adults who've been the most successful and have thrived are the creatives, are the individuals who have that creative ability to problem solve, to think outside the box, the entrepreneurial skills, and these are the people who are becoming much more successful in the workplace.
Speaking of that, Andrea, do you think that teaching the arts and textiles has an ability in terms of, improving a child's ability to learn?
I don't think that, Adam. I know that. I absolutely know that. And I've got evidence of that. I've got evidence, I've noticed that through the arts, a student who lacks confidence in writing, a student who is unable to communicate, who can't speak English, who's just come into a country and automatically they're seen as low ability because they can't write, they can't communicate. When you give them the skills, the materials, and let them just be in their creative zone, you will see something quite remarkable. You'll see their confidence growing. You'll see themselves noticing that actually what I can do, I'm just as good at art as that particular student over there. That's the spark they need to thrive. And this happens, I've seen this throughout my career with thousands of students that I've taught, that it's a subject which makes them feel secure, which makes them feel confident, which makes them resilient enough to be able to access the other subjects. And the other thing I love about the arts is that, we give them permission and to fail. Imagine that for a young person, failure, right? Who wants to fail? But when you're doing art, it's a journey. So they allow us to see their failures, and then our job is to guide them to make it stronger, or to help them to get up from them.
It sounds a bit dangerous to certain people's ears, I would imagine, because there are, and you know that as a teacher, there are those people who would argue, look, students need structure, they need academic rigor, they need discipline, they need to be put under pressure, not to be patronized. How would you argue against that opinion?
I don't think I would argue against it. I think I agree. Students, young people do need structure. They do need systems in place. They do need the literacy. They do need numeracy. They do need that. But they also need the opportunity to learn, and to learn about themselves. How do you learn? You learn by making mistakes. You learn by exploring new things, by experimenting, by taking risks. The arts are an environment where that naturally allows you to happen. And because the more you do that, the more you learn about what it takes to overcome them, who you are, what you need to overcome them. So yes, that's why I say that it's a place where you're allowed to make mistakes.
And what's in it for society, as one would say, Andria? What's the greater good of all this?
The greater good is that I think that creative people are happy people. Creative people are people who find solutions. Just sometimes the emotion that you receive by looking at an incredible piece of artwork, by listening to music, how it connects, how you can feel it and you get goosebumps. It's so important for us to have those moments, to explore those moments, to give those moments. So I think art is essential to create beautiful, kind, harmonious environments.
And you do actually see the result of that, when you teach, I suppose. It's not just theory to you, it's real life practice.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And what my fear is that the older we get in life, the more we put that aside. It's not important. Whereas when we teach our younger children, for them it's all about, get a crayon and just see where that line takes you, build something from clay and just explore and make. And we encourage that at the early age of mankind, but later on we seem to shut that out. And that's the thing that fears me the most.
There's one question I need to ask you, Andria, which I was about to forget, because you teach at Alberton Community School, which is a part of London, you said inner London, with a highly diversified religious and social community. How can children from such diverse background find a common language in the arts and textiles? Because, people come from various backgrounds. You have a Greek background, for instance, and you meet people with Urdu or Hindu background, West Indian background, etc. And you know all about it. Probably 80, 90 different nationalities in your area. So how do you communicate through the arts?
I mean, I think it is the language of communication to all our cultures. It's the one area, because it's about celebration. With art, you can celebrate and you can expose and you can showcase. So we can showcase the work of Islamic art to a Hindu community. We can expose and we can celebrate the work of African art to an Asian community. And therefore, we have got the platform to do this. And when you start introducing other cultures and work and exploring other cultures, our young people become more respectful, appreciative, inquisitive. They want to find out more, and they start to find the similarities. And when you find similarities, you note that everything around us, race, color, all of that, it means nothing. It means nothing. At the end, that we're all the same. And I think that's what makes me really excited and passionate about the importance and how we've got to make sure that the arts are really part of any school community.
Efkaristo Poli, thank you very much.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Adam. That's
been most generous, and I look forward to reading your book, which, as I said, is due to be published in mid-April. And yeah, once again, thank you very much.